Battlecrest is a two-player skirmish game which is expandable. You have different sets that can be combined. This is the first set that I try, so my first exposure to the game. So I'm going to review both the system and, well, this specific set here. Battlecrest, here you have the Metronn base game, and it is a skirmish game published, as you probably figured it out, by Battlecrest. So they are known for very small games, so they come in these plastic pouches. Also, usually they only have 18 cards and a single rule sheet. Here you have cards representing, say, our hero, so the main character that a player may use, a minion for that side, and then we have a card which is used for a health tracker and 3 action cards. So both characters have that hero, 3 action cards, health tracker, and this character, instead of a minion, has an item. This is our hero right there. And again, the health. So, and then we have cards that will be used to create the board of the game. In this case, we have a sci-fi confrontation in this like futuristic city. The idea is that the heroes will go around the board, moving, attacking, triggering effects, and you win by destroying the opponent. You have 3 action cards, as we said, and you have 10 health points. This card is used to record that. And so when he's there, it is 10 points. I take a damage. I'm down to 9, 7, 6, or 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. If I take another point of damage, I flip it and I place it there. I don't particularly enjoy this way of keeping track of health, also because later you will be exhausting these cards, and so sometimes I'm like, where was that? Which one was that? The game also comes with a rule book, with 2 rule books, no less, with a rule book, plus additional rules, plus 2 little portraits of the characters with extra rules in case you're playing the game solitaire. So I don't understand why they couldn't just take this and draw 10 bands there, and then that's how you keep track of health. I think it would be less messy than this one, but that's the way they decided to do it. So you got your health tracker, you have your actions, and then we're gonna set up the board. To do so, you take these cards, you shuffle them, and you place them in a configuration that kind of looks like so. You have to imagine these cards as being part of a grid, which is somewhere on one of the rule books. And if I show it to you, it's easier than if I explain. There you go. No, there you go. So that's the configuration. So, for example, if this is the configuration, our hero from this side will start in that corner there, the minion will start there, and the other hero will start all the way on that other side there. Like so. That is the board. So imagine there is a space here, space, space, space. So a frame of rectangular spaces surrounding this grid of 6 plus a rectangular space in between there. And so this is the board. We're gonna close in a little bit more because the angle that I had was just a little bit too weird for me. So here we go. Suppose that after a couple of turns, this is the situation that we have. As again, these people are moving around, or monsters, robots are moving around and doing things. So, when it is your turn and players will alternate taking turns, you must perform 2 actions and they must be different from one another. An action can be to move, and when you move your hero, the movement value is equal to the total movement value of the active action cards, that is, action cards that have not been exhausted. So right now, my movement value with that hero would be a 4. Right now, this would be a 5. And so that's how you move. And when you move from time to time, you find a shortcut. So, for example, this location here is a shortcut. So from here, it could do like 1 and 2. And in general, these locations have different other effects that will modify combat, that will give damage if you're next to that one, or that one is revealed when you're next to it. So different kinds of things. So for movement, again, just move, usually orthogonally. From time to time, you find a shortcut. You can also activate, so you choose one of your active cards and you activate its abilities from top to bottom. You can skip, but to my understanding, you cannot revert the order. And so I could move, and then force. So the power of the force allows me to move stuff with the only people with the power of the mind, like, oh, like I'm doing there. That's magic. The force. So yeah, sure. When you're moving things with the force, you will move allies or enemies. Particularly important for this character because the ally doesn't move by itself, but when it is forced, then it launches some really nice attacks. As you can see, some actions have modifiers, and that means the number of crests of that type that are visible. So, for example, if right now I'm taking that action, the force power is by 3, because I got no crest of that kind available. If I take this action, and then this action, now the value of the forcing power is 4, 3 plus the crest that are visible. So there is a nice element here that as you exhaust actions, you still reveal some things that you made and activate to do things. So for an action, you can move. For an action, you can use click one of your action cards. For an action, you can simply prime it. So you simply turn it by 90 degrees without revealing its, without resolving its actions, I guess, just to trigger the crest. And then for another action, you can basically refresh your cards. So first you flip the exhausted cards and then you unexhaust them. And so the cards are double-sided, so different things will happen that way. And so you got your different things. Star means that when you use that action, you get to activate the star ability on your character, and that's it. There are a lot of icons, so I'm not gonna go into all the things, but for example, these icons indicate range. But this is the general idea. You'll take 2 actions, moving, activating action cards, preparing and priming cards from time to time, refreshing your actions, so flipping them and then refreshing them. And you continue like this until one of the 2 heroes will be down to 0 health points, and at that point the other player wins the game, and the one who is down to 0 loses the game, obviously enough. I don't think this game is for me or for the friend that I played it with. It is only 2 players, of course, as many skirmish games are. We just didn't enjoy it very much. Well, first, maybe there wasn't a little element of expectations. We expected this to be a scaled-down skirmish game, but they really only scale down the physical components in terms of rules and number of icons and fiddliness and steps that you have to take. It's like a bigger game, which for some of you may be a bonus. You get a game that is a lot more game than you would imagine would fit in a pouch, maybe be along the lines of Unmatched, but more easily portable and cheaper also. But having to learn all those steps and icons and little rules and how unique cards and abilities work, to then play a game which can be resolved, may be resolved in about 10 minutes, then it just felt a lot of work for not a lot of depth. And something probably that we disliked the most is that it felt like the best way of winning was to count on a mistake from the opponent overlooking something, rather than you pulling off some really awesome combo. Because there is no random element, the game is deterministic, and technically you have perfect information. Yeah, the cards of the opponent are flipped face down, but if you know them, you could just make your analysis. Okay, I know when my opponent does that, that effect is going to be available. So, in other words, it's a perfect information game with no randomness. It feels like a more convoluted version of chess with a science fiction theme, but Again, I felt that the best times I hit my opponents is when the opponent overlooked an icon that was on the board, an icon from the city, one of my things, rather than because I was able to create something awesome. So again, they try to give you the obfuscation, the uncertainty of a game with randomness or with secret information, but somehow it doesn't really work that way. And if you count it perfectly, I know for sure that I can be attacked here. I know for sure that this other thing will happen. Then there isn't a lot of joy. That's all I'm saying. Because if you want to play perfectly or optimally, then you are analyzing every single detail, which is your right to do, and then you have a two-player game with major downtime, which can be annoying. So it's kind of this thing. Maybe if you play the game in the right spirit, which is I'll just see as it goes, take it as it comes, I'll do my best without over-analyzing it, and then you lose because you overlook something, or you win because the opponent did, or you play it optimally, and then it becomes just a lot more homework than the game is worth. I don't know. That's how I'm trying to articulate why my friend and I playing this game, we were just not having the kind of fun that we expect we may have. We like simple games, we like complicated games, and this game somehow felt like in between with the length and sometimes the anticlimactic ending of a filler, which is fine if I'm playing zombie dice and then I'll just roll the zombie and dice another couple of times, and 5 minutes later we play, 2 more games. So it had like the short length and the anticlimactic narrative of a really tiny filler with the homework of a much bigger game, and I'm okay putting in that homework if then the depth of strategy also pays off. But this was not the case. That was not my impression with the Battlecrest Metronn base game.